you're being eaten from the inside? What if your entire life is being ripped out from under you? This is what is happening to hundreds, no thousands of ecosystems around the world because of invasive species. Now, what are these and why are they such a threat? These dangerous creatures come from foreign places to disrupt and establish themselves in the environment, then destroy, and you guessed it, destroy. These fun little murderers have been doing this for centuries, ravaging forests, wetlands, deserts, and everything in between. I dare you to guess how many invasive species there are in the world. The real number is more than 37,000, and 1,442 of those, that is an estimated number, are in Canada. What is the reason behind this? How are so many non-native living things going into different countries and infecting their environments? The increase in transport of goods and travel is a major factor. The organism sneaks onto the transport vessels, and that is when it chooses to establish itself in the foreign country. Extreme weather events impact this as well, by bringing alien species to the poor, unsuspecting country. Another key way they spread throughout the world is climate change. An example of this that we all know and hate are deer ticks in Canada. They were known in the eastern United States for carrying Lyme disease, but luckily were controlled by cold winters. On an unfortunate note, since the beginning of the 21st century, Lyme disease-carrying ticks have been slowly infecting Canada, creeping north into many susceptible parts of it, which is practically all of Lower Canada. This includes Quebec, Nova Scotia, southern Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and unfortunately, our beloved Ontario. I'm sure this wasn't a surprise for most of you though, since the adults get so worried for our well-being, such as how they say, "Don't go along grass, you'll get ticks on you," or "Let me check you for ticks, wouldn't want to get Lyme disease." I used to think that Lyme disease and ticks were always part of daily life, but it turns out global warming, aside from slowly destroying the world as we know it, also helps ticks be the Lyme disease-carrying pain in the butts they are. Other than burning the path of the unaware and underprepared ecosystem, leaving everything destroyed in its wake, foreign organisms compete directly with the native life forms, who are actually supposed to be there for that matter, for food and a habitat. Imagine someone lived in your walls and then kicked you out of your own house, after scavenging all your food, of course, leaving you homeless and starving. Absolutely horrible. This is causing ecosystems to suffer biodiversity loss and dumping a whole ton of added pressure on the already endangered life forms. They can even spread horrid diseases to all types of living things. This sadly includes the food we eat every single day. They kill crops and trees, causing the economic value of crops, forests, and fisheries to be brought down, forcing us to suffer in stores and farmers to suffer financial loss. These concerning threats are causing 1 million living things to face the threat of extinction, having contributed to almost 40% of all animal extinction since the 17th century. The approximate number that they have caused is the extinction of at least 142 native species and the endangerment of as many as 500 of them around the world. Sadly, foreign organisms have the potential to affect every region in Canada, but so far, the Great Lakes are one of the country's most heavily affected ecosystems, because more than 180 known non-native creatures have settled in the lake since the 19th century. The worst part is that between only 1970 and 2000, that is 30 years by the way, a new one was detected in as little as every 8 months. This led researchers to the fact that unless new regulations were put in place, countless invasive species could be established in the Great Lakes by 2063. A question you may be asking is, why are you estimating all of these numbers? Well, random person in the audience, to answer your question, not all non-native species cause a noticeable or even a severe effect on their new ecosystems, causing us to not even know they exist. They're like little ninjas. Another thing is that likely not all of them in Canada have even been identified yet, and others may simply be dormant, which means they don't expand into the ecosystem, as though they are asleep. You could even call dormant alien organisms ticking time bombs. They stay dormant for decades, all the way to centuries before they start wreaking their havoc. We can have so many more that have simply not revealed themselves to us yet, because the longer they are dormant, the more likely we are to ignore it. On top of not knowing some of these even exist, there is a horrible event called an invasive species meltdown. What it is a crisis, where as more invasive species arrive in a location, they can occasionally help each other grow and prosper. On a very unfortunate note, getting rid of all of these non-native organisms costs the world more than $593 billion annually. And the most the world can do at the moment is just controlling their populations. It will take a great deal of time and effort to truly be rid of alien species, as well as repairing and preventing ecosystems from sustaining further damage. However, there are many possible ways to help in preventing the ongoing environmental disaster. The very first positive thing is simply getting to know some of them in your area. This is crucial if you want to stop the spread. If you familiarize yourself with these organisms, you know what to avoid. For example, the emerald ash borer, or should I say the tree flying. Well, this destructive bug, well, at least to trees, is a highly deadly beetle that feeds on millions of trees in North America, and its favorite food, ash trees, hence the name. They spread through firewood, and then once they find ash trees worming its way into the log, you can spot it only by peeling the bark off a tree. And if an S-shaped line is on the surface, well then you found it. Make sure to report it if you have. Well, Madison, how do I report this? I am so glad you asked. In order to do this, you can call 1-800-563-7711, otherwise known as the Ontario Invading Species Hotline, where you can report an invasive species today. If you do happen to stumble upon one, you must share the location, the species name, if you know it, and provide pictures in order for them to be able to get rid of it. Now, if you garden, the most important thing you can do is clean your gardening tools. If you don't, that is an easy way for foreign creatures of all shapes and sizes to get into your plants and become not just a nuisance, but an infestation. Surprisingly, there are seemingly harmless things you can do that damage the environment. This could be something as unassuming as buying seeds. Research the plant you are planting, because for all you know, it could be invasive itself. If you cannot identify it by the scientific name, or you aren't sure of its invasive potential, do not buy it. Although the most important thing is getting it from a trusted source. In conclusion, invasive species are a serious issue that must be addressed, and all in all are devastating ecosystems all over the globe. Hopefully, we will someday be able to repair this issue, even if it will take time.